to Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz. Hi.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode 11 of Blynd Submyshynz. Ooh, going high, I like that.
Going high.
I went a little bit lower than usual. Man, this is one that I've been waiting for. I actually didn't reach out to this. So tonight we have Trevor William Church of Haunt and Beastmaker and Hysteria, and I think every episode of this podcast so far.
I was just gonna say he's not. This isn't the first time he's been on.
No, he's on every time.
Mentioned in every episode.
Dude is the definition. He's the definition of DIY and heavy music. So he comes up. I was actually going to wait a little bit longer, but Trevor was so excited to come on here and listen to some music, and
who wouldn't be?
I know, I agree. And tear it up that we just went for it now. We can always have him back later. I don't see any reason why we can't have guests more than once.
No.
So
lots of very successful podcasts do that, and they do it well.
Oh, they do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
then there's jokes that carry over.
Right.
Oh, shit's gonna get real. We're bringing it back for episode 111. This is 11.
11D1?
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 Yeah.
I like my 11Ds.
I like 11Ds.
All right, so what are we going to talk about with Trevor? Well, I can tell you right now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about making a living on Bandcamp and being a one-man army in music.
I'll tell you what else you're going to talk about.
What?
Pedals. Fucking pedals.
You know what? Trevor's not like the pedal talk guy. I don't think. I think
No?
we'll talk studio, but I don't think he gives a shit.
All right.
Those are a means to an ends for him. I never got the sense that he was like gear obsessed.
Yeah.
Although he did just get an amp. He can maybe mention it. He just got an amp endorsement.
There you go.
A pretty good one.
Ooh, really?
But
nice.
It's like, hey, he got an amp endorsement, so he gets cheaper free amps. That's
cheaper, cheap
or free. And I think that's
free.
about the level that he was interested in it. Other than it's an amp that he loves that sounds great.
So that happens.
Oh yeah.
Like you can get an endorsement, but still have to buy your amp.
Yeah, some endorsements just get
a discount,
like a steep artist discount. Some are free gear, and some are free gear plus money for representing. It all depends on your reach, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, so if you see an artist that has like a monster endorsement in metal, they're probably collecting cash.
Yeah.
Monthly, they probably get a monthly stipend. If you see someone who has an orange endorsement, they might get free gear. They might get cheap gear. They may be getting money. There's
depends.
There's a difference between Brent Hines and, Kelly even from Mothership, and then someone even below Kelly's level that's also sponsored by Orange.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's all over the place. Hey, I'm still shooting for that string endorsement. That's the first one I'm going to go for. Hey, bass strings are expensive, man.
I can imagine.
All right, so we talked last week about the announcement of ticketed streaming shows on Bandcamp, which was like another really cool piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can publish your music, you can sell your merch and your physical copies of your music, and now you can do ticketed live events, all through this one platform. That's really cool. As I was scrolling through Bandcamp today, I saw this. Fans have paid artists $621 million using Bandcamp, and $18.3 million in the last 30 days alone.
That's crazy.
And remember, the artists are getting 90% of that in most cases, sometimes 85%.
I think people are going to there's going to be a conspiracy theory started about this podcast one day that it was actually funded and founded by Bandcamp.
Yeah, it's not.
We talk about Bandcamp
We do not have an endorsement yet.
Yet.
But I'm scheming.
I just want to have a conspiracy theory about me.
Oh, shit. No more conspiracy theories. I'm done with it in 2020.
Once Q drops something about JD, I am made.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool, actually. So Trevor's, obviously got the one half that we've talked about, which is, making a living, putting tons and tons of music out on Bandcamp. Haunt alone has released 3 records on Bandcamp in 2020.
That's insane.
And that's only one of his
that's
projects.
So crazy.
And then the second thing is being a person in Trevor's position where you are writing, you have the ability to play every single instrument, to engineer and record every single instrument, to mix and master, to own your own label, to self-distribute, and even do his own order fulfillment in a lot of cases. And the dude is like, and you know, he's his own promotion machine too.
Yeah.
With the help of some folks in the industry. Certain publications have really gotten on board with Trevor, but I mean, shit, his I want to say his Black Sabbath cover from the Magnetic Eye, his third week in a row we're talking about that. He did one of the songs on the Volume 4 redo record, and that got coverage in Rolling Stone, for fuck's sake.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's
I
great.
mean, this is a guy, you know, doing it from his little studio in Fresno, just a prolific writer, producer of heavy music, and kind of you know, reinvigorating a traditional heavy metal sound.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That folks are happy to hear back. So let's go ahead and
let him in?
Welcome in.
Let's welcome Trevor.
Trevor William Church. Dun dun dun. And he's here. What's up, man? Oh, of course.
There. Hello.
The iconic joint, BC Rich studio. What else could you want?
I don't know, man. A cup of tea,
Cup of tea.
which I have.
Oh, that's good.
What kind of
right
tea?
here. This is a voice tea.
Oh, really?
Straight-
Oh.
Are you making
Strangely, even though I'm not doing anything voice related, because I have a joint in my hand.
They kind of counteract each other, right?
It really, yeah, it's exactly why I drink it. I drink this shit all day. So on my table right now, so I got my tea. I have these delicious new San Pellegrino blood orange black raspberry.
Oh, that's
Nice.
good stuff.
And then I have a Perrier right here.
Oh man, you are loaded.
You are loving the bubbles.
And then well, this is from today. And then I have a Waterloo watermelon drink.
Were you doing like a
Then
sampling?
a
of-
nice size bag of
Oh.
marijuana.
Oh
Nice.
shit!
Yeah.
It's almost
Are
like
those also sparkling?
Those are sparkling.
Sparkling nugs.
Freaking carbonated.
Yeah.
oh shit!
Carbonated nugs, dude. Don't you know how I do it over here?
I
I
think
have
you just.
and it's funny you say that. I have a BC Rich in arm's length.
Oh, of course you do. Come on now.
And then I got on the other arm's length. I don't even have to move. I have my Gibson right here. I was actually working on my new album, like right as I was messaging you, trying to wrap up some guitar solos. I play guitar solos all day today. My hands are killing me.
Like shredded.
They're
And by
just so tight. I don't even know, man. Like, I'm just trying to write really catchy solos these days, and I'm finding it like it's a little different. This album has a little bit of different soloing in it that I didn't do on any of my previous albums, which there's so many now. I don't even know where I'm at.
I know, like when you say "I," you mean Haunt, right?
Yeah, but I do all the recording for it. I do
Yes.
all of it.
Yeah.
I'm
so
actually it's strange because like I'm in like a transitional phase right now because when we come back, half the band's gone. It's just me and Taylor. Yeah, and on drums now is actually Andy, and I'm sure you remember Andy from Beastmaker.
Oh yeah.
So he's drumming now, and John is left, and we have a new guitar player who I'll reveal at some point in time.
Wow, Tucker left, like moved away from Fresno.
He is no longer pursuing music.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
And nothing like crazy happened. You know, I mean, nothing really crazy could happen with me because I don't drink. My life is basically drama free.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, you know, following me around for 6 years might have been at its end.
yeah.
You know.
Hey, drama free until you're trying to bring some lights up on stage and you piss off a stage manager.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, we're going to be, it's cool to have Andy back because he was kind of always in charge of making sure we had like some sort of production no matter what.
Yeah.
So I dude, it used to piss me off. We used to have these rules. I'm like, everybody has their own light and you're responsible for plugging that one in. It was like ridiculous. And like Andy was in charge of like pressing the fog machine and all that. So
Everyone
was,
plays
you know,
a role.
in Haunt, like a lot of it like was like weighing on me to do. And it was like I've already like merch guy, tour manager, front man, driver, you know, all of it. It was really like, I was like, I don't want to fucking deal with this. The lights have been in my attic for 3 years.
Yeah, I noticed that with the end of Beastmaker was the lights getting put away.
And you know what? And I'm really excited to bring that back because I feel like that was
It's a big part of it.
Thing.
Yeah.
It was. It really was. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but it was ours.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was mobile, so we brought it everywhere with us. And we did spend a nice fucking chunk of change. I think like for a band of our size, we spent like probably like $2,500 on lighting equipment, which is, you know, for a band just bringing that shit. Dude, it's so beat up. All the glass is broken.
Oh, really?
All we did was screw it onto some boards so it could lay on the ground. That's it.
Yeah, no, I've seen those lights many times. Yeah,
and spray painted it black. The foot.
The boards.
I just call it shoes. They're like light shoes.
Oh,
it's like, you know, and they just got beat over the years, and we have to invest in a new fog machine. Unstable. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Am I here?
It's a little bit red, but
okay. It might do that because I'm way outside. I have a little network pod next to me, but it just fucking Comcast, dude. They fucking suck. I live in the middle of the city. I can't even talk on my phone without Wi-Fi assist in here.
Oh, really? Yeah, it might be worth like this. The whole pandemic forced me to invest in decent home network shit because I'm working from home. My two kids doing school all day, people streaming all day. And I found a really good mesh Wi-Fi system that will help fix that problem out in your studio. So I'll talk to you about it.
No shit. Yeah.
Outside.
You got to let me know
about that on this episode. No. Let's talk about Wi-Fi.
Seriously. No. I mean, Wi-Fi is really bad these days. I feel like it's like one of the worst things. Like when I try to actually do something online, it's always like sketchy, and it's like, fuck, I got 5G here. I'm supposed to have 600 like megabytes per second, and it's like I can't even talk on the fucking video.
Well, one of the questions we always ask our guests when we first started is, how did you get into Wi-Fi? When did you first discover Wi-Fi?
Jesus, so I had 56K.
Fuck yeah.
I had the 56K modem, and it used to drive me crazy, man. I would yell at my mom because I was a teenager. I'm like, Mom, the fucking internet's not working again. God damn. Because I was really into this site called mp3.com. Do you guys remember that shit?
Yep. Oh, yeah, we remember it.
So I was like always on mp3.com and like trying to find out about music, find out about shows. I used to use the List a lot back in the day. I know you guys are familiar with the List.
Yes. What was your favorite Winamp skin? That's what we can do.
Oh my God,
Winamp skins. Oh man.
I mean, it's funny to think that was actually a thing. I mean, it really was. Winamp was like top notch back then.
Yeah, that was your sick MP3 player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the good stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember what skin I had. I might have had like an Iron Maiden one maybe or something, or
that makes sense.
It had to be like a more mainstream band that I did like. But I actually, so you know what I used to do back in the day is I would I had my computer hooked up to my stereo, and I didn't have a CD burner, so I'd record all the songs onto cassette so I could play them in my car. Because some of that mp3.com shit was golden.
Yeah, that was.
It really was.
There was good stuff on there. I gotta look on the Wayback Machine and see how much of that the Internet Wayback Machine, and see how much of that still lives.
I don't know, but it was so like it was really my introduction to finding music on the internet. And then Napster obviously came, and it was like, whoa, I could get everything. But it used to take like 3 days to download an album. So it's not like now where it's just like, boop, boop, boop. You can just skip through it. You're like, fuck, man, if I want this album, it's going to take, oh, shit, man, 27 hours? Okay.
Oh yeah, I would do that. I would do it at night. I would like get all this stuff, like, find it all at night, and then I would go to bed and hope that it was downloaded by the next morning.
That's right, dude. It's so crazy to think that that's like a whole era gone now.
Just gone.
Like lightning speed
now. Whole era where everybody stole their music.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I was still buying cassettes during those times. I was still a cassette junkie. and mainly because part of my like weekend thing as a young adult was going to Tower Record and going into the punk and metal section. Sometimes, occasionally, the hip hop section, but mainly the punk and metal section. And I would buy 2 or 3 tapes a weekend.
Oh wow!
For however many millions of years that
How
was.
did you pick?
Yeah,
How did you pick
The album cover and the record label.
Yeah.
Or it was a band that I had already seen or heard, and it was an album I didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Because we'll kind of, as we listen to some of the songs, we'll kind of go through that same experience. Because I'll screen share the Bandcamp page so that you can see the cover art and stuff.
oh God,
Yeah,
I'm scared. I'm so opinionated about art.
That's fine. Hey, so normally we talk a little bit about your background and how you got into music. I mean, you are obviously more widely reported on than anyone else that we have had as a guest, and kind of the story of your family, your dad and stuff is pretty well known. But what was kind of the moment, or what was it that made you think, yeah, this is a thing that I want to do for me, like separate from whatever else was going on in your life and your family? Or was it just always kind of assumed that you would get into music and play?
My mom always was like, you're going to be a musician. My dream was to be a professional skateboarder. And I was actually pretty good, and I had like a shop sponsor, and I really skated a lot. I skated I had a little cassette player in my garage, and I had all kinds of shit I'd practice on before I'd take it out to Internet Unstable. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're here. You're good.
Did I lose you guys? Okay.
No,
I don't know why when it says that, am I good? Is it still going?
Like the video gets a little jerky, maybe the audio gets a little choppy, but it's mostly coming through.
Okay, that's good. All right. Anyway, so I just kind of realized as I started getting older and going to more shows, and I had a car and everything. I grew up in a really small town, so there was maybe 2 bands in the whole fucking 45-mile radius. And I tried joining those people's bands. I actually got kicked out of a band one time for not being punk enough. Which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Did they give you specifics?
Huh?
Like, did they give you any specifics?
They just said I wasn't punk enough. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. My hair wasn't spiky. I just kind of had shaggy. I was just like I was like your typical like skater.
Yeah.
Bad haircut. It was just shaggy and horrible clothes. Like I didn't really have any money, so it was pretty sketch. It was like whatever I could muster up and wear. I thought that was more punk rock than they were.
Yeah.
They all had like nice houses and nice cars. Their parents had like super good jobs, and I'm sitting over here driving a fucking Geo Metro with a big ass dent in it. I mean, people get this misconception because my dad played in the Sammy Hagar band that like we have money, but we do not. So it was very like border middle class for me. We weren't like poor, but like I didn't get no fucking fancy new car. Like my first car was a 1988 Dodge Colt. I don't even know if people even know what that is anymore.
No. That was a lot of people's first cars.
Yeah, no.
Dodge Colt.
Yeah, I mean,
I had the Mazda version of the Colt. I had the Mazda GLC, which was the exact same car.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I had
I mean, it's not. Go ahead.
I had
What'd you have?
79 Honda Accord Coupe.
Nice.
With louvers on the
Dude,
back
those
windows.
are cool.
You got the ones with the
like
louvers?
Those,
oh man, those things are awesome.
Oh dude, it was $800 and it broke down like 3 weeks after my dad bought it.
That was my max.
They
when my parents
do.
bought me my first car, my limit was $800. We have $800 to buy you a car.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now?
I'm already saving up for Rex right now. I'm like, dude, I ain't gonna do him dirty like that. That shit sucked because I remember breaking down in the middle of nowhere. My dad gave me a AAA Plus card, and I probably used that thing, maxed it out every year.
Oh man.
I used it like 4 times. I remember one time I broke down on the way to San Francisco going up a hill, and I was just fucking putting on the freeway, and the Geo going like fucking 10 miles per hour. I'm already like 2.5 hours away from home, and I'm like, holy shit, The fuck am I gonna do out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
No cell phone. No cell phones back then.
No.
So,
yeah, we lived. We lived through an interesting time.
It's a different time.
Yeah,
no technology.
We can remember all that stuff, which I think keeps me optimistic about the internet and all of this, because it's like I feel the tangible benefits of the internet. When I went to download music from Bandcamp today, and I bought and downloaded an album and downloaded the WAV files, and it took like 20 seconds to download the WAV files for the whole record, and I was like,
that's awesome.
I remember the days when it was not like this. I remember trying to book shows before Facebook.
But anyway, let's quickly do a synopsis of the background. So my dad, and obviously I always had musical instruments around me. My first instrument was drums, and I played drums for a couple years, and I realized that I was like, I don't want to be behind everything, because I was already seeing, I was going to shows and stuff at a young age. And I was like, I want to be like Sammy Hagar, running around the fucking stage, going up the lighting, hanging over the crowd 100 feet, even though, in my mind at those days, I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on? I was so little. But, it was, when I realized skateboarding was like a lot harder to get into than music, I was like, all I got to do to get into music is find somebody that thinks I'm cool enough to be in their band with them. So that's when I started seeking that out. And I actually did that at the record store. That's like how it happened. So
just hang out at the store.
Band, one of the guys that worked at Tower Records was always like, he was into the same shit as I was. And since I was in there every weekend, we became friends, and we ended up, like, that was my first real band, was with him. We were called Scattered Fall, and we're actually really popular in the Stockton area. We used to bring more people to the shows than Haunt gets. Like, we'd have like 500 people on a weekend back in those days. Damn. It was a different scenario, and the shows were wild as fuck. We had people on stage jumping off. It was like more hardcore punk stuff. But we did a couple records and everything, and then I kind of just wasn't, I needed to like evolve from punk a lot. I was already, because I listened to so much different stuff already, that I was just like, I can't do this forever. Mm-hmm. I just knew. I was like, this is gonna, I did it for 3 years, but I started kind of bringing some other shit in. I was like, hey, what if you sang? And it was like, oh, what? Sing. I was like, well, yeah. So at that point, when that happened, it was kind of like, I ejected myself, and they went on for quite a while actually, and did really well. Did some pretty big tours and stuff, but it really wasn't until I moved to Fresno that I started like kind of more pursuing my heavy metal side. It took a long time. I even moved to LA thinking, I was like, there has to be somebody in LA that wants to play thrash metal. And little I know, there was nobody. It was the hardest place. I lived there for 2 years. I probably auditioned for 100 bands. I was on Craigslist like all the time. And I go to these places, and a lot of these fucking people, they just thought they were like God's gift to fucking music. And I'm sitting there like, you guys suck. You need a lot of work. This one guy, I was almost going to be in their band. I can't remember their name anymore. I think it was called the Spades or something. But they played like a cool, high-energy, old-school rock, kind of like AC/DC. And so I was kind of vibing with them a little bit, because I was like, this isn't exactly what I want to do, but I like that. So I was going to play bass with them. And one day I asked the guitar player if I could play his guitar, and he told me, nobody touches my guitar. I fucking just walked out and never talked to them again. No. I just walked out the room. I didn't even say anything. I was like,
done.
I just grabbed my shit and was like, I'm not playing with these fucking guys. You can't touch your fucking guitar.
Nobody touches my guitar.
What the hell?
What years?
Okay, Glenn.
When were you in LA? When were you in LA?
I was like 25 years old. So like, it was a failure.
2000s?
It was a failure of epic. Yeah, it was a failure of epic proportion. I'm 39 now.
Yeah.
So it was a long time ago in hindsight.
Yeah.
And,
LA's hard.
Plus, I had some. I had some really gnarly, tragic things happen. I lost my cousin, Daniel, who was like my brother growing up. We were side by side, and I got really heavy into drinking, and I kind of lost interest in music for quite a while. I didn't even have an amp, if you could even believe that,
Oh, wow.
for like 2 years. I just played like, I still played. I just like didn't, you know, like pursuing band stuff. I'd kind of been, I'd lived in Stockton, I'd lived in Sacramento, I'd lived in Los Angeles, and then I was back in Fresno. And right when I moved back to Fresno, the plan was to like start a band with him because he was a really good drummer. And I kept telling everybody for years, I'm like, we need to do like a Black Sabbath old school metal band, or just something like something old school. And for some reason in that time period, nobody wanted to do that. They thought I was insane. They're like, nah, man, fucking Strokes. But I was like, okay, you know, because people were really into like Strokes and Kings of Leon and, you know, more alt rock kind of stuff. Metal was kind of like, there was like Orchid and a couple other bands that were out there that were kind of like starting to break through a little bit on the internet. And you're like, oh, what's this? And of course, like Queens of the Stone Age. And Queens of the Stone Age really brought like a nice curve into what happened. I feel
so
like
too.
they're mainstream shit. They're just like, boom, okay, here's this now, and all this stuff just started sprouting out of it. And plus, there was a nice resurgence of thrash metal. That's what I was trying to gravitate to, and failed. I wrote like 2-3 albums of thrash metal. I still have a lot of it.
Yeah,
and like, I listen to it, I go, man, now with like where I am at now, if I did it now, people would actually listen. The reason I stopped doing it is like nobody fucking cared in Fresno. No, everybody's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I got up there, you know, I'm wearing fucking skin tight pants and high top sneakers and like screaming and like had bangs and shit. They're like, this guy's not cool.
Yeah.
You are not punk.
Yeah.
They're all wearing fucking boating shoes and shit they bought at Urban Outfitters staring at me. You know, that's kind of how Fresno is. It's not been gracious.
No.
So, but I met Andy here. Andy's like that key dude to, you know, he's the yin to my yang per se, because he's always been the guy that's always been like, we could do it. We could do it. It was just he and I for years. We couldn't find a bass player. John, who wasn't a bass player, he had a band and we didn't even know who he was. And we were like, we knew him from some shows and mutual friends, and Andy works at Guitar Center, which also helped. But he got his phone number at Guitar Center. He's like, hey, let me get your phone number. And like got his phone number. And we called him one day. We were like, hey, we're kind of doing this, like, we have this band called, you know, he had seen our thrash metal version, but we were like, hey, we're kind of like going to slow it down and do some more like old school metal. And do you want to come jam? And that was that's how Beastmaker started. It was the last like real band kind of thing where it like happened in an actual garage.
Yeah.
You know, like
band way.
We were a garage band, and we yeah, because like, I mean, Haunt is not that, so it's like really there's a big detach. It's like completely a whole different scenario. So we started off, we tried to record some demos ourselves, failed. We had some songs, we went to a studio and failed there as well. And at that point I was like 33 or 34, and I was just like, all right, if we can't record something, I'm just giving up. I had already taken a job as an instructor at a beauty college to do hair on the floor, to teach them how to do hair. And it was like, because I was like ready to be an adult. I was like, I need a house. I was I can't do the music stuff that I want to do in apartments. It just wasn't, because I wanted drums. I wanted all the stuff. I wanted to be loud as fuck, man. And it was hindering me. It was hindering my spirit. My spirit was dying every day. Just a little bit, just kept flickering away. I'm like, oh, another day has gone by. Nobody gives a fuck about you. And then, and then, you know, I was talking to Andy and I said, hey, I got these other songs that we didn't do in the studio. And one of them was You Must Sin. And I told them, I said, let's not go to a studio. Let's buy a better interface and some like cheap mics and try to like set it up and just do a lo-fi fucking recording and see what happens. 2 weeks later, we had a record deal from Rise Above. So, you know, we used to have a joke. We're like, dude, we had a record deal before we even had a T-shirt. Like we hadn't even played out of town. We'd only played within Fresno. But I think that Vincent Price artwork with the blood logo really like visually at that time was something everybody was like, what's this?
Yeah, it
Click.
was.
Oh, the brand was on point.
Yeah, the branding was great, and it was so easy to consume. It was just like, oh, I know what this is gonna be. Let's dive in.
And we did that for a long time. It was my relationship with Rise Above that kind of started me. Again, it was kind of one of those areas where I wanted to write some different stuff. Andy wasn't vibing it. He's like, why do you want it? No, Doom. And I said, no, we should try some other stuff with this and see what happens. I was like, we can only press this button so many times before, you know, my brain starts going, yeah, what's next? Yeah. What's next? Because I got this big thirst to, you know, like I'm thirsty. I'm still thirsty right now. I'm going to take a drink of tea.
Delicious. Yeah, I mean, you can only reorganize those Doom songs so many times before.
I think I did it. I think altogether, all the releases, there's 8 full lengths worth of material in 3 years of being a band.
Yeah, that's insane.
So and some of them are really, and some of them are really different. If you listen to my Eye of the Storm EP, it's like epic Doom and melodic Doom. And it did not go over well. I thought it was going to take us to a new plateau because the guitar work was way more technical. It was just, I had big, huge backing vocals. And I was like, let's see what this does. And strangely, Mind Freeze was supposed to be on it. And I took it off because I was like, if this doesn't do well, I don't want this song on here because I was really attached to it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just started writing differently. I had this like thing where I was like, I just want to write whatever I'm feeling. I don't want to be like in this, like, you have to do this in order to be that, to be Beastmaker. I wanted something where I can like spread my wings whenever I felt like it and kind of do a little bit of different stuff here and there. And you could probably tell that in the Haunt records. There's like fast, slow, dancey. There's a broad spectrum of stuff. You're going to hear thrash. You're going to hear like punk.
It goes a lot more different places than Beastmaker ever did. And what's funny is in the background, you know, beyond the music and what you were writing, you were kind of going through the same process on the like production and label side of kind of like disconnecting yourself from the reliance on others and taking control of the whole thing for yourself, which I think was I mean, you and I talked about it at the time when you were kind of getting ready to do it. And it was really cool. I mean, it seemed like, wow, you build the audience and then fucking take control of the audience. Don't let somebody else have them. I mean, that's
it's hard. It's a hard deal. It's a hard pill to swallow these days because the music business side has evolved into something where you're almost like a busker. You got to put your hat out to make a living.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very different. So you have to be creative in the ways of like, what costs a lot. Like I see, because I work with a lot of bands hit me up and ask me advice. I'm kind of like a heavy metal life coach to some. and I'll look at their record contract and I'll see how much these labels are offering. They're offering like $2,500 for a full length album. And I'm like, I wouldn't even record you in my studio for $2,500 for a full length album. I was like, that's going to take a month of my life away. And I have to be like, so absorbed, like that song I'm gonna hear it 1 million times right now. Nobody's gonna do it. Like, that's not enough money to do a full-length record.
Yeah,
it really isn't. Not to like really do it, you know.
No. I mean,
I feel like that's where a lot of people fall flat because you don't get to really, like, sometimes you really need to work out the song.
Yeah.
Like I do a demo, a pre-production, and then the song. It gets recorded 3 times before I'm like, all right,
Damn.
this is as good as it's gonna get here.
Yeah.
You know, I give up after that. I'm like, throw it to the wild and just hope somebody's like, that's a good song, man. Good job, buddy. Great. But I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to go. I didn't have the money to go to a producer or a high-end studio. And when we were getting the little bit of money that we were getting, I was just buying equipment to write songs to elevate where we were at. Because I always felt like having better songs was better than having better production.
Yeah.
Because some of the shit that I was really into, I pressed play on and I'm like, God, this sounds terrible, but so good.
Yeah.
The fucking album is great. You're like, what is this? You know, but so I always kind of believed that the better song would get you where you needed to go. And I just started buying. It's like a fucking sickness at this point. It's like never ending.
Yeah.
So I've always just kind of reinvested. Every time I made some money off music, I was like, invest in your music, invest in yourself, get what you need to continue on and try to get better, write better, evolve a little bit, and push your technicality to the limit. You know, make yourself feel like you suck so that way you improve.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, I started Haunt and it was just me, and I was playing like on all the early demos, everything I always had done, I always drummed on it. I always was the drummer. Nobody else because I was writing fucking 8 songs a week. Nobody comes over. I can barely have a band practice for 3 hours without wanting everybody to leave. I'm like, get out of here. I want to work. I just want to be in the producer chair, like recording music and like doing the vision. But you know, I didn't have a band, and that kind of created a problem from the second of fruition, because I needed a drummer. I used the Beastmaker's merch guy as a drummer. He was really sick at the time too, nearly died. So I ended up drumming on Burst Into Flame. And you know, it just kind of like has been this weird thing where I've had some of the guys play on the records, even in sleep, even though they didn't, kind of situation, because I was being told like nobody likes a solo project. That's been like thrown at me for years right now. And it wasn't until like this year where like COVID, I'm like, you know what?
Fuck it.
Fuck everybody that says that.
Everybody's doing a solo project.
I'm telling you right now, it's like
you led the way once again.
It's something I don't know. I don't know if I led the way.
Reintroduce solo projects when people are ready. you're doing it all first.
I've always been like, dude. I've always been like, people have been throwing fruit at me on stage, rotten fruit. They're like, "You're too soon. It's too soon.
A little bit ahead."
Wait. And
so we're gonna love you in a year. But get off
It's weird with Haunt. So it's weird with Haunt because I feel like I finally came in where it was like the right opportunity.
The timing was right.
Yeah, the timing was all timing. There wasn't that many bands doing what I was doing. And I did it with a demo state of mind. I was like, I wanted to sound like Angel Witch demo. And I kind of just went for it. And I recorded the whole thing in a weekend and just was like, you know what? If people like it, great. Then I'll try to do better. But that's kind of been the thing, is just like write what I want, record it however I want, put it out before I get sick of it. And here we are, 4 full lengths later and 2 EPs, a little bit over almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, and 3 releases, at least if you count digital, the one that comes out in January 21 on vinyl, 3 records released in 2020. Just Haunt.
In a sense.
Yeah. Just Haunt.
But it's weird. It's weird because I released Beastmaker too this year.
Oh Jesus, man.
I released
and
an EP.
Hysteria. And
Hysteria, but Hysteria was like late 2019. It came out Halloween 2019.
Okay, well, get your shit together and start recording more music. All right, he's breaking up.
Hear you.
He's slow.
I'm gonna wait a second. Let this thing catch up.
It'll come back.
Here and there you are. Holy shit.
Yay.
Anyway, a lot of stuff was released. I only actually did one new album this year, so it wasn't like I was busting my ass, and it was 8 songs. But I re-recorded my EPs to put it on one album.
Yeah.
Because going on tour, I was starting to realize, because people love vinyl, it was starting to become a fucking nuisance carrying around all those boxes of like having to go through them. Like, how many fucking you know, and a lot of time I'm the merch guy. I can't help myself, but like, I don't party, so what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah, might as well talk to people and sell merch.
Yeah, it's like be social and just sit behind the merch table and sell your shit, and they could see the face of the guy that like writes it all, gets all the work done, gets the fucking merch done. It's
yeah,
why not? You know?
That's what's always been fun about you is you're super accessible and like open, willing to talk about your process, the fucking what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. It's been cool. I mean,
yeah,
we've known Trevor for what, 4 years? 5? It's probably close to 5 years. The first time we had Beastmaker,
it was the first heavy
Saturday
night, wasn't it?
It was great because remember I couldn't figure out how to get into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like talking on the phone, and then I see Jeff, and he's like, over here, because like it was an issue of parking out front for a minute.
Yeah.
And then we came there, and then Jeff had all this weed. He had a weed kit for us waiting, and I was like, "Yes, San Jose, dude, what's up? We're gonna get lit."
Fans, do you hear that?
Yeah, we try to be hospitable.
Hospitable. Just want to hear good music too.
But
so that was that. We've been friends ever since. We've done a bunch of shows for you, and
yeah, tons of shows, big ones, little ones. Actually, I said last week the first booking request that we've gotten that I actually might attempt to do from Ian Watts was to book you guys in September of 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, not to pre-announce your tour or anything, but
well, I mean, the only thing with that, the only thing with that is everything is reliant on vaccination and things becoming like we need very much to be normal. Yeah. But you know, I'm really actually was thinking, I was like, when things start reopening, if tours don't happen, it will be nice to kind of branch out locally. Like, cause you know, I'm dead center in California.
Yeah. You're
it's easy for me to get anywhere. It's like 3 hours I'm in Sac, 3 hours I'm in San Francisco, 2.5 hours I'm in San Jose. And then 3 hours, you know, south I'm at Los Angeles. I'm only like 6 hours from Las Vegas too.
Yeah.
So I can really just kind of just, you know, there's a lot, and it's like a lot of it you could do in a day. You don't have to stay overnight and make big plans to, you know, it's like not a big, huge ordeal. We play a show, you know, we play, in San Jose, we drive home. After the gig, we're, sleep in my bed, sleep in. Fuck that. I don't want to. I sleep in a motel. I'm up at 5:30, and I'm like, all right, you guys, get the fuck up. Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to hang out in the fucking motel. Let's go.
Yeah.
Got shit to do. Yeah. So that's really it. We could probably ramble for forever, a million years, but why don't we listen to
this
some?
This is going to be a 2-parter episode.
Yeah. No, we're definitely going to listen to some music now. All right. JD's going to screen share. So I picked 6 submissions. What we'll do is we'll play a little bit, and then when it seems like a good time, we'll take a pause and kind of stop and, you know, what do you think? You know, get your first impressions. What do you think so far? And then maybe we'll listen to some more. Maybe we'll scoot to another track from that band, or maybe we'll move on to the next band. So the first band is called Jagu, and what I know about them so far is that they are from Norway.
Yeah.
And the song that we are going to start off listening to is called The Pit.
The Pit.
Nope. Okay. You're not playing it. I'm playing it.
You're right.
Yeah. We don't have a producer here, so.
That's right.
Jesus Christ, guys, get it together.
Just heavy.
Get it together, man.
Yeah, we're a disaster. We're crammed into a tiny little office with a bunch of kids' computers around us. It doesn't look like that.
No, it looks great.
Looks fancy as hell.
You guys look fucking fantastic there, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Jagu.
right, so there's like the first minute or so.
Are we gonna dissect that?
Yeah, talk about it. What do you think? Would you keep listening past that, or would you have shut it off already?
I was waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed a little like what's going on here. Mainly drum wise, a little bit maybe riding the toms for a little bit too long. It says they're mesmerizing, but I would. You
were not there. Oh, so
no,
it's
the reverb doesn't mean mesmerizing. I'm just gonna say that right now. And I told you I'm super opinionated, so I'm like,
no, totally.
I'm gonna rip people into shreds. They're gonna hate me after they hear what I have to say about them. You could tell that they know how to play their instruments thus far. I want to see if they actually have a chorus, because that's gonna really be the deciding factor if I even like this band. Because if they don't do a chorus, I don't think there's.
No care.
I don't. Well, no, I just don't think like what they're doing is enough. It's not like ethereal and ambient enough for me to really like be like, all right. I don't know. Let's see if they have a chorus.
I'm definitely still listening.
Yeah, the only thing
but I do. I feel like, just like you said, I want it to go somewhere.
Yeah,
I feel like it might go somewhere, but it hasn't gotten there yet.
Well, and it's a 6.5 minute song. I thought the build in the vocals was strong, and there was
I'm not. You notice that I didn't say I hate the singer. That would usually be the first thing I'd be like, okay, no.
Same here.
But we're still there. We got to get to the mesmerizing.
The guitar had an unexpected distortion to it. Like it had an interesting sound to me.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it wasn't super. It wasn't super fuzzed out. It was kind of clean.
Yeah. All right, so they about a minute in, they decided we needed a little breakdown. It was a little underwhelming if you're going to break at a minute and like really bash like that. So let's see where it goes from there. Yeah, so, kind of a more proggy song structure, some weird, playing with the meter a little bit, and I guess that was a chorus?
Yeah. Maybe? Yeah. It didn't really mesmerize me again. It didn't. Tomorrow I would not remember this song. There's no way they need to throw. I'm trying to kind of hint to them like, you need a different tagline, because that's. I don't know. I keep seeing it. Seeing it, and I'm like,
All right, so I scooted to just past halfway through the song. Let's see. So now we're at like 3.5 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
My head was moving more. I think I like his voice better screaming.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the part that came just after the screaming part.
I think the solo was terrible, though. That solo needed to go away. They could have just they could have removed that from the whole song and saved a minute, because I mean, you're giving your music to the public. and we've already scanned through half of it because we can't sit here for that long and listen to the fucking song.
Yeah.
That's something you got to put a candle on for and put headphones on and lay in bed.
Yeah.
You're gonna hang out with your friends. 6 minutes might be. You better be fucking shredding. You gotta be chugging beers and going wild.
Yeah.
This is a little bit too like, all right, and I'm fucking stoned.
I don't know if I can handle a 6 minute shred though. That's a lot of shred.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that either. That's what I'm saying. There's a fucking fine line when you hit that 6 minute mark. Oof, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
There's certain bands that could really do it. This band might not be it. Do you want to talk about their art a little bit real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Is everybody else seeing penises?
I see
4 giant penises.
I see some dicks.
It just blew a load, and that's the clouds in the sky. It's just like, woo, woo, woo. Oh, yeah, it's all going to come down on that guy that's in the pit. It's just a pit of semen.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. That's fucked up. But no, they definitely are. You can tell they're in their infancy.
Yeah, I think so too.
They need time to grow. I think they could all play. They know what they're doing. They need to focus in on maybe writing a little bit more catchy songs or be like heavy like that, scream, because that's something that like more captivated my ears immediately, and I started feeling like I was like, okay.
Yeah, okay. Or if you're going to be more meandery and proggy, like lean into that harder. Don't just give me like 2 little flashes of weird time signature stuff, like some more complex passages.
And if you're going to use all those effects, like it's just drowned in reverb. I felt like when he went to the solo, it would have been really cool to maybe use a digital delay and do like a tappy proggy kind of thing where it like has like this, ascending, descending kind of thing going on instead of just picky reverb stuff where you're just like, yeah, you got a solo drenched in reverb. It doesn't even matter what you're playing because you're hearing the tone.
I wasn't even sure if I thought of that as a solo or if I just felt like that was like a little melodic guitar passage.
They look like they're good pals.
Yeah,
they look like good pals. They look like nice boys.
All right.
With sweet beards.
Keep at it. And
These 2 are brothers, aren't they?
They must be.
They're
I bet
totally
it's fun live too. All right. So next we have Blood Swamp.
Blood Swamp. All right.
Blood Swamp. Blood. All right.
Hey, but you know what? One more nice thing about Jagu. I think Jagu is a kind of cool band name for the kind of music that they do. I think the name kind of fits who they are.
And I wonder what it means, like if it's in another language.
It has to be Norwegian.
Yeah.
We're just fucking ignorant about
totally.
Norwegian language.
That's
like
exactly
Jagu.
it. Like,
it's probably not even Jagu. It's probably like Ragu.
It's probably Yagu.
Yagu. We're like Jagu, man.
They're all. It means semen pit. How did you know that?
Oh man, it means surrounded by cockstones.
Cockstones. That'd be a good band name.
Cockstone.
I like surrounded.
Hey, I'm trademarking that shit. I came up with it on the show. It's gonna be our most divisive
episode yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to listen to Blood Swamp, and the song they wanted us to play is Mindful Less. Mindful.
They're experimental doom. So I'm really like when you use these words like mesmerizing and all these things, and you fail. To me, automatically your band is like kind of gonna fail because you got to be true to what you are. Don't be like I'm looking epic experimental, and then they're just gonna be like open fucking drop B fuzz.
So
you're like, no, that is not experimental, dude.
So let's back up on that then. When you're setting up your Bandcamp page, what do you think? Should you write a bunch of shit in that? What do we sound like? Or
Fuck no, I put classic heavy metal.
That's it. Just keep it really simple. Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning in that direction too, because it's like on the one hand, you want to give people a reason to listen if they like something and you think they might like. But on the other hand, it's like I'm sick of classifying stuff. So
it does suck because like you would this band immediately if you put doom metal from London, but for me, like because I have like a really big attachment to doom metal because of the early doom metal bands like Witchfinder General and stuff like that, which is kind of more new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah.
But that and like Pentagram and Black Sabbath, that to me is like doom. And then, you know, being of my age, the band that really did it in London for my youth, you know, Cathedral was kind of like, they were like doom. They might be the only band that said doom on it that I ever was like, what's this?
Yeah.
Because like at the time, there wasn't very many bands doing doom.
Saying, yeah, doom. Hey, open up the cover. I want to see it. Yeah, Cathedral's one that we get every once in a while just because Troy has that upper register. So
yeah.
he can get up in that land, which is also a funny thing because that vocal style is not generally associated with doom.
I would call them experimental doom.
Yeah.
Because there's doomy fucking riffs. They fucking do Sabbathy riffs all day.
Yeah. So this cover doesn't read like another boilerplate doom band to me. So all right, so let's listen to Mindful Less. And it's a...
Wait, say that, Mindful Less?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, a minute and a half in, we're still in the intro, which is pretty doom.
Where's the experimental? That's just doom.
Hey, can you guys hold on 1 second? Because you know how you guys talk about gear?
Yeah.
I think a half stack just arrived at my door.
All right,
I'm
no
not
worries.
even kidding. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah, no, go get it. We'll talk. So I read in the description something about touches of black metal, and in that section in the intro where it got like really noisy and kind of atmospheric to the point where it was really hard to distinguish the different instruments. It's almost like a black metal production technique laid on top of like a riffy doom record.
There was definitely some weird production techniques that I wasn't sure if it was a production technique.
No,
or
I think
if
it was.
Like,
no, I think they meant it to kind of come apart in that section and then to bring it back together to get kind of noisy. There was just like a ton of reverb, and there was like stuff just ringing out over the top, and it got to the point where you could barely distinguish the drums.
It almost sounded like the two members of the band were playing a different song than the other two members.
Yeah,
of the
no,
band.
there was just stuff that was
and
like,
then it came back together.
Yeah.
There was stuff
that fucking sucks. So I missed him, but he left my foot controller, but no amp. He was supposed to leave it.
Oh no!
And now I'm pissed. It better show up tomorrow. I'm gonna fucking
Does this have something to do with your endorsement?
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
You're welcome to say something if you want, or if you haven't.
Yeah. So I've you know, it was something I never planned on doing in my life because I always liked different amps and owning different amps. But after going to Nam last year and hanging out the ENGL booth and playing their Powerball 2, I just realized at that moment in time that their amps were like really superior to a lot of the amps that I played. And I wanted to be a part of it. You know, because like at some point you kind of have to gravitate to where it's like you need to work with some companies that can help you out. They do backline in Europe, so like my backline in Europe has been horrendous.
Yeah.
Like horrible. Like I'll end up with a JCM 900, not my favorite amp for what I do. It just isn't. Like I feel like there's so many things that need to go in front of it that you're not prepared for, that you're just like, you get there and you're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I just
last week, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of time with the JCM 900, you need like a boost. If you have a boost pedal, you're good. It's just kind of weak and thin. Yeah, and I don't really like Marshall. I don't really like those cheaper Marshall cabs. They have to be like the older Marshall cabs with like vintage 30s or something. And I don't know, but I could just be tripping. You know, it's this. I generally have played like Mesa Boogie and PV for a long time, and I've had like Hovercraft. I've had so many Marshalls. I've had at least 2 Orange amps, and I don't have any of those amps anymore. I sold every single one because the closest I think I've ever gotten, I've had some amps custom made too that didn't even cut it.
Yeah.
I won't even bring those people's names up because it's rude.
Yeah.
You know, because like they actually do make good shit. It just, for me,
it just wasn't for you.
It was not that. Yeah, absolutely. And that was a bad thing. I was like, I'm never doing a custom head ever again. That's when I started realizing, I was like, I need to find a company that does my sound. And Mesa Boogie was just too far out of reach. I would have loved to like worked with them. I use a DC-10 and I love it. Very versatile amp, but I really rely on my amps like overdrive for my sound. Like I need a lot of gain. I need a high gain. I need cascade gain circuitry where you know, it's those fucking preamp tubes are just overdriven to high hell.
Yeah.
You know, and I use one of my favorite amps of all time is a block letter PV 5150. That's a super popular amp.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5150 maybe, or you know, well, and obviously ENGL makes sense, and it's kind of.
You know, a lot of the hot records I use. What I always do is I use one. I do one plug-in, and then I reamp through my amp, and that's my guitar tone.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, so for some of the hot records, I used a Soldano VST. And then I go through the 5150 usually, or my Mesa. The Mesa was like mainly we'd use that for solos. Yeah. It's just really like it had a different character, and it's going to be interesting because I've used the ENGL VST on a lot of my stuff, and that's kind of where I was like, okay, well I really like what ENGL sounds like, and I have a universal audio aux box here, so I'm going to really be able to test the Powerball 2 to the Powerball VST and go,
oh, interesting.
How close really
is the VST?
So I'm gonna have the amp to the plug-in. Those amps are fucking expensive, man. I don't really like to spend that much money on gear. Like, so that's the other thing was like, man, if I'm gonna get in bed with somebody, I gotta be able to, you know, like has to be top, you know, grade because I'm gonna have to pay for it a little bit. They give you a huge discount, which is really nice, you know. That's kind of what an artist endorsement is for somebody like me. Is you get it at cost,
a fat
which
discount.
Is beautiful. I'll take that all day because you know when you buy used anything, there's always a problem.
Yeah, you
don't know if everything's perfect.
And amps are like a little bit of art and a little bit of science. I mean, a real tube amp is not. It comes down to the individual components and how they were wired and it's
absolutely your tubes make the difference. So somebody could have put a different set of glass in there and now you're like, I don't like this amp. And that's what sucks is you do a lot of blind buying with the internet. You know, back in the day when I was buying gear, I had to be at the music shop and in order for me to get it, you know, like in my early days, you know what I used to play, what my amp was for so many years? Probably like my whole early musical career was a Laney AOR Pro 100.
Yep.
Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Like
Carl's a Laney guy. So.
Yeah. So, and that's what like Sleep used too.
Yep.
In their music video. And that's a great amp. You know how much I paid for that? $200.
I was going to say $200.
Not very much.
I was poor. I didn't have any money, dude. I had no money. I was like, I needed two. And the reason that I picked that, this is what's great, is I put 100-watt tube amp in on eBay when it was just coming out. And I put the lowest price, and I was like, tube amp for $200, and I just bought it. Little did I know, I bought something that was going to be like this historic tone, and I never needed another amp ever. That thing was killer.
Yeah,
how it died? It died because I put a beer on top of it and I hit it with my guitar and it spilled inside and it blew the fucking thing up.
How many amps have died that death? Yeah, Carl's like
true story.
100 GL that he uses is like you can get them for $400, easy.
And that's a really good head. I use that head. I think Laney makes really good amps. I think they're fucking really they got their shit together pretty good.
Yeah. All right,
they sound good.
Do you remember anything?
I've never played a Laney and been like, eh.
Yeah.
It does it all. It got gain. It's got cleans. It's got headroom.
Yeah. Did you remember anything about this song that we just listened to?
Oh. Yeah. It had like a Sabbath type 2-minute intro that wasn't experimental.
No, I said when you left.
It was the complete opposite.
The only thing experimental was it kind of about halfway through it kind of devolved into what sounded to me like some black metal production and effects techniques where the whole thing was kind of falling apart with reverb and delay and then it sort of came back together when they dropped into the riff. So I'm gonna shoot. This is a 7.5 minute song. I'm gonna shoot I'm gonna shoot about halfway through and let's hear where we are. All right.
8 minutes. Fuck me.
Oh, here, let's go back and see how we got there. All right, so yeah, they're fucking around with sludge and black metal and doom, kind of stirring it all together in a big echoey mess.
It's kind of cool.
Hey, check out this. This is the foot controller.
Sick. Gear talk.
Hold on. We'll be back, Blood Swamp.
Yeah.
I think we got the gist of Blood Swamp.
I think Blood Swamp knows that I don't like Blood Swamp. I felt like I was drowning in a blood swamp right now. I was gasping for air going, when is this going to be over with?
All right.
Well, Blood Swamp, I enjoyed it.
I might listen to it. I might
had
check.
The coolest name thus far. I like Blood Swamp as a name, and I thought their logo was cool because you couldn't really tell what it was. It was like black metal, but just lines.
Yeah,
squiggly.
not branches.
That's what I kind of like.
All right, so we're about to up the ante in terms of band names. The next band that we're going to listen to is called Coke Goat, all one word, as in a goat who is currently on cocaine. I believe.
Oh man!
This whoa!
It would be way sad. If it was a goat that drank Coca-Cola. It's just all about soft drinks. It's like this goat's so heavily addicted to fucking soft drinks. He's just like, man, I need some Coke, goat.
He can't chew his grass because his teeth are all rotted out.
Is that the Delicate Art?
So this is actually a split with another band, I think.
Oh.
So they're the first couple songs, and then the other band is the last two songs. Actually, the one right below that one, the album before this, has a really cool title and cover.
Yeah, I kind of like their vibe already. I like their artwork.
Yeah. Ooh, like, damn, that's cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
This
So
album is
What does
called
that say? Drugs and
Animals. Is the
Animals.
name
You know
of
what's
that
great
record.
is they don't have like a stupid tagline here being like, we are blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to guess right now. We don't even know what we're getting into.
All right, so go back to that other one, and then we're going to listen to a song called Night Rainbow. I don't know anything about this.
Night Rainbow.
All right. Looks like we got another Chicago noise band.
I'm fucking into this.
Yeah,
I love this already.
You know what's really funny is the picture of them where the guy, he's like sitting there covered his face like, oh God, what have we got? Like, it's like this weird band photo. It looks like it's like, are you wearing your Depends right now? They're like, we're getting hella drunk here at this bar right now. We're just hanging out, enjoying each other's company. And
I don't know. Is that both bands? Maybe
it's
that's
both of them.
The
Oh
two
yeah, that
bands?
would make sense if it's both of the bands.
I really dug the way though they like fucked with the EQ on the drums, so
it
that
was
you didn't.
definitely the most. This has been the most interesting band this far.
Yeah, and then the way they kind of dialed in the drums and they got more and more the resolution increased until it sounded like regular drums. At first,
they sounded more like a band that has like a focus on something too.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. That was really cool. I'm gonna skip a little farther into it. And
that's scary.
Yeah, piss. All right,
I like it. That's fucking. These guys are really. Their logo's killer, dude.
Yeah, I like everything about it, and it totally stands out. I wouldn't have guessed at all what they sounded like.
No.
All right, here we go. All right, this fucking description: drugs and animals.
Yeah, I was reading it.
It's all refreshing Long Island iced tea in a craft cocktail world. Fuck yeah!
It's trashy.
You'll need a double dose of antibiotics in the morning. So basically, they're saying you slept with a slutty chick that has an STD after you've done listening to their band. I'm gonna say something. If you're gonna use the word experimental doom, these guys could be that.
Yeah, that's closer.
Oh yeah.
This is more like a kind of that angular, noisy stuff that we've been finding a bunch of bands last week. Godzillionaire. I love it.
We've definitely approached. We've approached a band that is is worthy of the time to listen to right now. The last two you could just forget about them. And
I'm just gonna go buy these albums because I know
yeah,
I'm gonna
and
like
just
them.
go and once you see their logo, the moon, the pentagram, the weird K, the little spiky thing, and then the Hindu symbolism, and then the Albaros. So their O is an Albaros.
Yeah.
Which is super rad. You know, the snake eating itself. And then it has like the eye of something, and then an upside down cross is the T.
Yeah, so, we got symbology from different religions.
Oh,
and
just everywhere.
It's
like they're definitely a unique band.
It's the coexist bumper sticker, except it's mythology. It's mythology.
It is
religions.
Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying music and merch. Share links to the podcast or YouTube videos with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndsub@gmail.com. That is blyndsub, BLYNDSUB @gmail.com. Bandcamp links preferred, but not required. Find us on social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.